Carl Mays is the author of several books used by leaders in business, education, and sports. These books include A Strategy for Winning, Winning Thoughts, and Anatomy of a Leader. With the #1 priority of assisting his clients in reaching their goals, Carl has been acknowledged by the National Speakers Association as reaching the pinnacle of his profession, having received both the Council of Peers Award for Excellence and the Certified Speaking Professional designation. With degrees in communications and psychology, Carl is a specialist in motivation, human relations, and performance improvement. He has spoken to over 2,000 groups nationally and internationally, totaling over 1 million people. We now join Carl as he delivers the keynote address at the annual Sales and Award Banquet of Talbots Incorporated at their catalog sales headquarters in Hingham, Massachusetts.
I want to share with you what I consider the 3 cornerstones in succeeding in any endeavor. And cornerstone #1 is, wherever you are, be there. Whatever you're doing, do it. If you're going to do something, do it right. You know, you run into some people, and I run into some people, who are always putting off life. They're always putting off doing their best. They're always waiting for something else to come along rather than doing what they're doing at the present time and growing and maturing and achieving and reaching excellence in this position. Let me give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Every now and then, my wife will accompany me on a speaking engagement, and we'll turn it into sort of a mini vacation. Well, a while back, I had a speaking engagement in Eugene, Oregon. We flew out to Portland, rented a car, drove down to Eugene, spent Wednesday night there. I led in a full-day seminar on Thursday, seminar on customer relations on Thursday. Spent Thursday night there, got up early Friday morning, drove over to the Oregon coast, beginning down at Florence, all the way up Highway 101, beautiful weekend in April. Drove all the way up to Seaside, Oregon, really enjoyed it. But as we were driving along, I looked down and saw I needed some gas. So we came to a little town called Waldport, pulled into a nice little service station, pulled up in front of the pump, started to get out and get some gas. When it seemed like from out of nowhere, there appeared this young lady, had on a sharp uniform, bow tie, cap, big smile, came up to my window and said, "May I fill it up, please?" I said, "Yes, please do." Got the hose off the pump, put it in the car. Then she proceeded to clean the front windshield, the headlights, the outside mirrors, the side windows, the back window, checked the air in all of my tires. By this time, my wife and I were looking at each other. We were in shock. You know, we were in absolute shock. She came back around to my window and said, "May I check under the hood, please?" I said, "Yes, please do." Checked under the hood, got the oil dipstick, brought it around to my window, pointed to it and said, "It's a little bit low. I wouldn't add any right now, but I would keep an eye on it." I said, "Thank you very much." Replaced the oil dipstick, checked a few other things, closed the hood, took a rag out of her back pocket, wiped her fingerprints off the hood, came back around to my window and said, "The water in your battery is fine. Your belts are in good shape." I said, "Thank you very much." I handed her my credit card, and I asked her where the restroom was, and she said, "Listen, if you'll hand me that litter bag down there, I'll throw that away and get you a new one." I said, "Okay," so I gave it to her. She got her little pad and ran it through the machine, and I signed the card and went to the restroom, came back, there she was, had my litter bag, you know. I said, "Listen, I want to thank you for this excellent service." She said, "Sir, I want to thank you for coming in here and doing business with us. And if you're ever in this area again, I invite you to come back." Folks, if I'm ever in Waldport, Oregon again, you know where I'm going to get my gas. Of course, I got to tell you this, my wife messed up everything. As we were leaving, she turned toward me and said, "Well, if it'd been a man, he wouldn't have done that." I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. All I know is when you do business with someone and they do it like that, when they're there, you want to go back and do business with them time and time again. Number one, wherever you are, be there. Enjoy it to the fullest. Get the most out of it, and don't put it off. Live for it. Then number two is become highly proficient in what you do. Specialize in a certain area. Just like tonight, we gave out various awards in here. Roberta got an award. Paula got an award. Marion got an award. Gina got an award. Just various people getting these awards. You know what this is saying? It says, hey, you're there. And not only are you there, but you're doing a highly proficient job. And you're getting more out of that job, and you're helping other people to get more out of it. You know, I like what Martin Luther King Jr. said many years ago. Great statement. And I think about this whenever I'm doing anything. He says, hey, if you are a street sweeper, sweep those streets so well that all the angels in heaven will look down and say, now there goes a great street sweeper. I like that. I want him to look down and say, hey, now there goes a great motivational speaker. I want him to look down and say, hey, that is one of the best catalog personal customer service people I've ever seen in my life. That's one of the best customer relations people. I mean, there goes a great personal shopper. There goes a great associate. You say, hey, am I tough stuff or what? You know, it makes all the difference in the world. And then number three, whatever you do, make sure it does not lead to your success only, because real winners create other winners. And that's exactly what we're talking about, a winning partnership. You know, I have a friend in Nashville who's a songwriter, and he's written a number of songs, but one of my favorite songs that he has written has never become a really well-known song, but I love the words of the chorus, because the chorus goes like this: giving's not subtracting, it's adding, don't you see? What you give becomes another's gain. Sharing's not dividing, it's multiplying life, like the flowers after morning rain. That's what it's all about. People working with people. And once again, on the screen tonight, cross-training. When this is just overpacked here, who's going to help out? When this deluge comes in, who's going to step forward and be the person who's ready to take up the slack? This is what teamwork is all about. People working with people. Now, let's look at the 9 principles in a strategy for winning with these 3 cornerstones. And if you want to follow along, look on the back sheet of your program there, and you'll see these 9 principles there. And I'm going to touch upon these, and I think you're going to be able to relate to all 9 of them time and time again. Hey, look at principle number 1. Principle number 1 is accept your own self-worth, appreciate who you are, and help other people to do the same. You know, we can't be like the woman whose son went out for football. She didn't know much about football. Next door neighbor said, what position does your son play? She says, I don't know, but I believe he's one of the drawbacks. You know, it's amazing how many people see themselves as drawbacks, and they help other people to see themselves as drawbacks. You know what I like to say? Make me glad I'm me when I'm around you. You know what I'm talking about? There's some people, when you're around them, boy, they make you feel like you're somebody, that you're significant, that you're on the ball, you have something to offer. But there are other people, when you're around them, you can't wait to get away from them, because they make you feel small and insignificant. They're always bad-mouthing everything, as I would like to say, putting down everything. Look like they eat pickles 3 meals a day. You know what I'm talking about? Type of person where the whole room brightens up when they leave. You know, I've been around this type of individual. What I'm saying here is accept your own self-worth and help other people to do the same, because we all bring something to the table. And some people are more important than other people at certain times, but at other times someone else is the most important. You know, a number of years ago, Dr. Thomas Harris wrote a book, and I still love this book. It came out in the 70s. Some people say it's old-fashioned, it's passé, and I say no, no, no. It's very valid, especially when he talks about the 4 types of people in our society. I'm going to guarantee you this. Every one of us in here will fit into one of these 4 types. And everybody you know will fit into one of these 4 types. Let me share them with you. You think about it. Type number 1. This is the person who says, I'm okay, and you're not okay. I'm tough stuff. I'm what's happening. I'm God's gift to the world. I'm a winner, but most people are losers. I've got it, and you don't. Then we come to the second type of person. And this person says, you're okay, but I'm not okay. Other people seem to have talents and ability and personality and skills, but I was left out. You have it and I don't. We call this low self-esteem. And then we come to the third type of individual. This person says, I'm not okay and you're not okay. Man, we all just a bunch of losers. You know? So let's blow smoke and do dope and get fuzzy in the head and drop out of life, you know. And invariably, this type of person will try to bring as many people as possible with him or her. They're always, once again, putting down everything, telling you why something won't work, or, oh, that thing's going to itch me. That's not going to. Longer sleeves. Man, we don't need longer sleeves. I can't bend my elbows down. You know what I'm talking about. They're always finding something wrong with it. But now we come to the fourth individual. This person says, hey, I'm okay, you're okay. I have certain talents and abilities and skills, and you have certain talents and abilities and skills. I was created in God's image. You're created in God's image. I can get it together and you can get it together. And man, if we can get it together, there's no telling what in the world we can accomplish. Once again, we're talking about a winning partnership. Now, you show me a sports team, a family, a community, a corporation, made up of people like this, and I'm going to show you a group that is going to accomplish some very, very significant things. I can do it, and you can do it. And here's the thing about it. You bring something to the table, and I bring something to the table. You have some strengths and talents and abilities that maybe you don't have. But she has some that you don't have. There are some things I can do maybe very well that you can't do well at all, but there's some things you can do well that I can't come close to doing. You see, this is what it's all about. As a matter of fact, earlier on the tape, Linda, who gave us her essay, who was a scholarship winner, you remember what she said? She said, for years, I compared myself to other people and I felt insignificant. But then she said, I started realizing, hey, I have strengths, I have talents, I have abilities, and I want to develop those things. Let me tell you this, it's dangerous to compare ourselves to other people. Because when we do, invariably, we will compare our weaknesses to their strengths. We may have more strengths than they do, but they're using theirs and we're playing to our weaknesses. Appreciate who you are. Everybody has something going for her. Everybody has something going for him. Hey, look at number 2. Number 2 is develop and maintain a positive winning attitude. I got to tell you this. I'm talking about being optimist rather than pessimist. But many people misunderstand what an optimist is. An optimist is not someone who says we're never going to have any problems, we're never going to have any worries. That's somebody who lives in an unreal world. But an optimist is like the little boy who's outside playing. He runs into the house, he yells out to his mother, he says, Mama, Mama, if I fell out of the tree, would you rather I broke my leg or tore my pants? She says, don't be silly. I'd rather you tore your pants. He says, good news, Mama. That's what it is. It's not always what happens. It's how we respond to what happens. You know, as a matter of fact, I got to tell you this. I was driving down the highway a while back, and we came to a place where we could slow down, and I saw a bumper sticker that I loved. Now, I had seen other bumper stickers that said essentially the same thing, but I wouldn't use those words. But I love this bumper sticker because this one simply read, "Compost occurs." It does. Sometimes it does. It may be because we changed the styles in the catalog. It may be because the telephone system's not working right. It may be anything, but sometimes it happens. But the big thing is, how are we going to react to it? What is our perspective? So like the guy in Gatlinburg. Now, I know all of you have probably realized I'm not from New England. You thought I was from Brooklyn, didn't you? Well, I live up in the Great Smoky Mountains in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And I got to tell you this, a while back, guy came to Gatlinburg for the first time, checked into a hotel. Bright and early next morning, got up, went out for a walk in the woods, came back in a little while later. His clothes were torn, he was cut, scratched, bleeding from all over his body. Desk clerk looked at him and said, "Man, what in the world happened to you?" He said, "A green snake got after me." Desk clerk said, "Well, green snakes are not poisonous." He says, "They don't have to be if they chase you off an 80-foot cliff." Now, folks, I can react to that. I can relate to that. If I see a snake, I'm not going to study the shape of its eyes or the markings on its... I'm out of there. You know what I'm talking about? But it's not the snake that caused the problem. It's my reaction to the snake. It's the perception. So like snail crossing the highway. Snail crossing the highway gets run over by a turtle. Wakes up in the hospital. Wakes up in the hospital. Doctor looks down at him, says, "Man, what in the world happened to you?" He says, "I don't know. It was all so fast." You know, it's the perception that makes all the difference in the world. Now, you think about this, and you know, that's the reason the great Indian leader Mahatma Gandhi said many years ago. Now, listen to what he said. If I go into a situation believing strongly I cannot do something, there is no way I can do it. However, if I go into a situation believing strongly I can do something, then I acquire the ability to do it even though I did not have that ability in the beginning. Now somebody will say, "Carl, are you getting into New Age?" New Age? What does it say in the old book of Proverbs? As a person thinks, so is this person. Hey, look at number 3. Number 3 is be creative. I love this. Some people say creativity is bringing something into existence that never existed before. Well, every now and then that may happen. But 9 times out of 10 or 99 times out of 100, true creativity is taking something that's been around for a long time. It may be an idea, it may be a method, it may be a group of people, it may be an object. You think about it. How many of you remember back in the 70s, a guy went out, picked up a bunch of rocks, put these rocks in boxes, printed up instructions how to take care of a pet rock? The guy made millions of dollars selling us rocks we throw out of our yards when we're mowing. That's creativity. What has it been lately? The Beanie Babies, Tickle Me Elmo dolls. You know, creativity is just, I like to say it's looking at something with a fresh pair of eyes, giving it a little bit different twist. This is what we're talking about up here. How can we do it a little bit differently to meet the needs of our core customers? How can we approach it a little bit differently to make sure we're on the cutting edge and we not only bring back, but build upon what we have done in the past? That's creativity. But so many people go through life saying, "If only." You know, if only I had this, I could accomplish this. If only I were taller, if only I were shorter. If only I had a good manager, if only I had a good employee. You know, if only, if only. So like the guy in Gatlinburg, this guy's about 5'2", weighs about 120. Walks up to the guy who's 6'6", 300 pounds, looks up in his eyes and said, man, if I were as big and strong as you are, I'd go out into these great Smoky Mountains, I'd find me the biggest bear I could find, and I would tear him limb from limb. Big guy looks down at the smaller fellow and says, boy, they've got a lot of little bears in them woods. Now, folks, you think about that. You know some people who are always complaining, well, I can't do anything about that big bear. And these little bitty bears are just running around all over the place. But you know, I like something that Arnold said earlier. Bruce said it. Holly said it. I heard Shelley said it down in Knoxville, is this. We're not going to blame anything on the weather. We're not going to blame it on the economy. We're going to look at ourselves. We're going to be creative about this thing. But some people are always looking for something else to blame. So like the couple been married 45 years. Been married 45 years. Husband's in the hospital, very sick. Wife is sitting next to his bedside. He turns toward her and says, you know, Martha, that was her name, Martha, says, you know, Martha, I've been thinking. She said, yeah. He said, you know, we've been married 45 years now. She said, yeah. He said, remember that first year we got married, had a bad crop, lost half the farm. There you were, Martha, right by my side. She said, yes. He said, then we started 5 businesses. All 5 of them failed. There you were, Martha, right by my side. She said, yes. He said, then we had 10 kids. All of them wanted to go to college, no hope of a scholarship. There you were, Martha, right by my side. She said, yes. He says, now here I am in the hospital. Doctors don't expect me to walk out of here alive. Here you are, Martha, right by my side. She said, yes. He says, you know, Martha, I've been thinking, man, you bad luck. Oh, me. It couldn't be me. It must be my wife, you know. It must be this, but hey, creativity is taking what we have, where we are, and getting the most out of it. Look at number 4. Number 4 is build upon failure. Boy, I love this one, and that's what everyone here tonight has been talking about. You know, you may share something great with you. When I was writing the book, A Strategy for Winning, we were trying to find a common thread found in the lives of people who are successful in their endeavors. As we searched, it didn't have anything to do with physical abilities. Some are tall, some short, some medium, some good-looking, some plain, some rather... It didn't have anything to do with that. It didn't have anything to do with race or sex or what part of the country you're from. But finally, we found a common thread, and I was elated. Here's what it was. The people who are usually the most successful are the ones who experience the most failures. Is that good news or what? I know somebody's thinking, boy, am I going to be successful? You know. But here's the reason that works. You see, the person who is ultimately unsuccessful will try something and fail and say, well, it just wasn't meant to be. Don't you hate that? Just, I wasn't cut out for that, so I'll just move on. But the person who is ultimately successful will try something and fail and say, okay, I messed up. That's just what you've been saying here tonight. Arnold said it. President, CEO said, okay, we messed up. I love to hear stuff like that. Because what you're saying is, we're going to shoulder responsibility. Bruce said it. Both Bruces, Bruce and Bruce. So like Daryl and Daryl, you know. You don't write my check, do you? Okay. Oh, that's good. You don't give that to me now. Anyway. But what I'm saying here is, you know, that's how we build success, by building on our failure. Sort of like the guy who wanted to write a book, okay? Typed up this manuscript, sent it off to a publisher. Publisher kept it several months, sent it back and says, I'm sorry, no one would buy a book like this. reworked it, sent it out, publisher kept it, reworked it, sent it out. Over a period of years, he sent this manuscript out to 27 publishers. It came back 27 times. He sent it out again. Publisher number 28 took a chance on it. The name of the author, Dr. Seuss. His books have now sold over 200 million copies, and 27 major publishers rejected it. But he kept on keeping on. And folks, that's what it's all about. And as we talk about customer service, as we talk about being personal shoppers, as we talk about being the most educated associates in the catalog industry, we're talking about building on things and growing. As a matter of fact, in my customer relations seminars, I like to say there are 4 rungs on the ladder to top professionalism. Number 1, you got to have knowledge. If you don't have the knowledge of the product, the service, dealing with people, you're in big trouble. Number 2, you got to demonstrate skill in sharing this knowledge. And this is what we're talking about, ongoing education. Now, number 3, you've got to be able to inspire confidence when the people are talking with you. When they hang up that phone, they got to feel like, boy, I am glad I'm doing business with those people. Rather than saying, well, I don't know if they're going to get that order right or not, no telling what I'm going to get in the mail, You've been in that situation where you've gone out of a store or you've gone out of a place, you said, man, why did I do business with those people? But that's what we're talking about. And a word came up, and Kathy won the Consistency Award earlier. If someone calls in and they get a personal shopper who is top of the ladder, a personal shopper who has this knowledge, who demonstrates this skill, who inspires this confidence, when they call the next time, they need to get somebody else just like that. That's what consistency is all about. Once again, a winning partnership. If just a handful of people do the right thing, it's not going to work. It's got to be people working with people. And then that 4th rung on the ladder of success is show an awareness. Now listen to this. There are not a whole lot of people who deal with customers who ever reach this level. Because what this means is, I know what my customer's wants and needs are before she does. You see what I'm talking about? I can help her to coordinate this thing. I can help her to have the right accessories, the right shoes, all the things that Jody was talking about a little bit earlier. Hey, let's look at number 5. Number 5 is clarify your values. I want to touch upon this very briefly because it's very important. And here's what I'm saying. Every now and then we need to stop in our personal lives, our professional lives, and we need to say, what do I believe? Why do I believe it? And does it make a positive difference in my life? Very important. What are your values? Do the values show up in your family life? Do your values show up in your professional life, day in and day out? Do your values show up when you're dealing with the customer? What do I believe? Why do I believe it? And does it make a difference? We're talking about moral values. We're talking about relationship values. We're talking about spiritual values. Everything that goes together to build character. Hey, look at number 6. Number 6 is set goals. Oh, this is great. Where have you been? Where are you now? Where do you want to go? And what is it going to take to get you there? Many people never reach their goals. They give up because of one big reason. A person will set a goal right here. Maybe it's in professional life. Maybe it's in marriage. Maybe it's in something else, finances. The goal will be right here. The person will be right here. And the person will try to jump from here to here in one giant leap. It's overwhelming. It's frustrated. It's caused people to give up. Now, here's the secret. It's hard by the yard, but it's a cinch by the inch. Breaking things down into their smaller component parts. For example, someone comes up to me and says, my goal is to lose 50 pounds this year. I say, man, You're going to have to stay away from that pastry table back there if you do. Well, that is a big goal. That's a big goal. But do you know, to lose 50 pounds in a year, that's less than 1 pound a week, which is less than 1/7 of 1 pound a day. Now, which seems most likely to be reached? To lose 50 pounds in a year or less than 1/7 of 1 pound a day? Now, just think about this. We can take this in our personal lives, our professional lives, set these goals and do them little by little, and we're amazed at what happens. And here's the thing about it. Always keep your focus on the goals. Don't ever lose sight of your goals. Keep your focus there. My wife, who's she helps me out every now and then. Well, we had another trip that I was speaking on, and she went with me. It was at the beach. Well, I spoke in a seminar that morning, and she wanted to go out that afternoon and look for some shark's teeth. I mean, you know, here we didn't have any shark's teeth, so she wanted some. I said, okay, we'll go look for shark's teeth. Went down to the beach. I went one way, she went the other way. We were gone for about an hour and a half. We met back. I hadn't found any shark's teeth. She had found 14. I said, what did you do, catch a shark and pull the sucker's teeth out, you know? She says, no. She said, I'll tell you, I listen to you every now and then. I said, well, that's good, but what does that have to do with shark's teeth? She says, you know the way you're always talking about the power of focus and keeping your eye on your goal and not being thrown off course and keeping that focus? And I said, yeah. Well, she said, today I started focusing in on everything dark and triangular, like a shark's tooth. She said, I may have missed some beautiful shells or even some coins, but when I started focusing in on everything dark and triangular, those shark's teeth just sort of started jumping out at me. Folks, isn't it amazing how often we go toward our focus? Hey, let's look at number 7. Number 7 is visualize. Oh, I love this one. It's mental engineering at its best. It's seeing what you want to accomplish and seeing it so vividly that it helps you to do the things you need to do in order to make it happen. Walt Disney World was not completed until after the death of Walt Disney. When they opened the theme park and they had a special tour, one of the guests going through there turned to his host when it was over and said, isn't it a shame that Walt did not live to see this? And the host replied, he did see it, and that's why it is here today. Everything begins as an invisible idea. This wireless lapel microphone that I'm wearing began as an idea in someone's mind, transferred to paper, a model was made, it became reality. That chair you're sitting on, these clothes up here, they began as an idea, transferred to paper, a model was made, they became reality. Now, personal shoppers, when you're talking to people on the phone, a great challenge and a great sales point is to help people to visualize using all 5 senses to see this outfit, to see how these things go together, to feel this material, to see that bright color. It's got to jump out, not off the catalog pages, but it's got to jump out in their minds, how it's going to look. And I'm going to tell you this, later on when they're wearing this coordinated outfit and the accessories, the shoes, and their friends tell them how attractive it is, subconsciously, they're going to be thinking, she was sharp. She put me on to this. She may not say it out loud, but she is thinking this, and she's going to come back and she's going to tell other people about it. Visualization, mental engineering at its best. Hey, let's look at number 8. Number 8 is enjoy, like, and appreciate other people. Because in the end, it's people working with people. Now, I know you've heard this 100 times or maybe 1,000, but let me tell you how important this is. One draft horse. Now, those draft horses, you've seen them probably on television if you haven't seen them live. They have the big hooves and the hairy feet, and you've probably seen them pulling the Budweiser truck or whatever it is they pulled. One draft horse can pull 2 tons. 2 draft horses in the same harness, pulling together, can pull 23 tons. That's amazing. But I'm going to tell you, I've worked with high school, college, and professional athletes. And time again, I have seen the championship team not be the team with all the all-stars, but the team with the people working together. A winning partnership. And remember earlier, I was talking about you bring something to the table, you bring something to the table, you bring something to the table, I throw in my little part, and all of a sudden we've got something much stronger than the individuals who make up the team. Now, as I said earlier, this is not hype. This is not hot air. This is not fluff. We're looking at where the rubber meets the road. People working with people. And nothing moves until people make it move. Hey, let's look at the last one. And you'll notice I put this off until last. Do it now. Don't procrastinate. And I have an acronym that I love. A-C-T-I-O-N, action. A stands for attack the problem. Attack the challenge. Don't wait for things to take care of themselves. Jump on it. Or as I like to say from Tennessee, jump on it with the gusto of a hound dog. I mean, jump on it with all 4 feet and put out that fire before it becomes a big, big burning object. C is create opportunities. Some people say, boy, I'll be glad when my ship comes in. They've never built the ship and sent it out. I like what the ancient Chinese proverb says, one who waits for roast duck to fly into mouth must wait very, very long time. Create opportunities. Create things. T is team up for togetherness. As I talked about earlier, the team is always stronger than the individual component parts. I, instill a burning desire. How much do you want what you say you want, and how much are you willing to pay in order to get it? You know what I would do? I would look at the winners here tonight. How did old Marion win that? How did old Roberta get that? Paula, what was it you did over there? I mean, you know, it doesn't take an Einstein to say, let's look and see what these people are doing. You know, I want to see what they did to get these awards. You know, emulation. We're talking about being creative, seeing what they're doing, and then doing it a little bit better. And that way, you challenge and you grow, and you challenge them and they grow. Good, old, healthy competition. People, that's the reason, you know, a lot of times we have these competitions where people will get so involved because it's fun. I love to compete myself, and it's fun to do this. Instill that burning desire. O is overcome adversity. We never know exactly what we're made of until we have to reach down and overcome adversity. And I think Linda, who won the scholarship, Linda, who gave that testimony on tape, is a great example of that. Linda, who got married at 16. Linda, who had 2 children at 18. Linda, who's a single parent. Linda, who said, finally, I realized that I've got something, that I'm unique, that I can do things, and I'm going to reach down, and whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. And then finally, N, A-C-T-I-O-N, and N stands for now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, not next year. We're talking about now. There were some words written thousands of years ago, translated into hundreds of languages. It's called the ancient Sanskrit verse. And in the English language, it's powerful, and it goes like this. Look well to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the truths and realities of your existence. the joy of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a memory, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a memory of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this very day. Oliver Wendell Holmes said, most of us die with our music still in us. But I like what old Ray Charles says. He says, sing your song, children. And Kathy Mattea, the country singer who had a #1 hit about 6 years ago with a song that had the chorus that went like this. You got to sing like you don't need the money. You got to love like you'll never get hurt. You got to dance, dance, dance like nobody's watching. It's got to come from the heart if you want it to work. And folks, to me, this underscores a strategy for winning. And this underscores what Talbot's is all about. It's been great to be with you tonight. Appreciate the opportunity. You've been a great, great, great group. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
If you're interested in Carl Mays presenting a strategy for winning to your group, please contact the organization that supplied you with this videotape.